Hey, check, level one, two.
This is not MTV.TV.
Not, nerd, minute, dip.
Not MTV.TV.
Jumping Jam, 2008, there. Albert, everyone, another one. Yeah, just another one. Alright, one. Yeah. Come on.
You make a lot of music, you're constantly touring, you're obviously very busy. What do you do in your spare time?
I don't really have spare time, and I don't relax. I don't have a private life really.
For the ladies, does that mean that you're not in a relationship?
I'm totally married to the music. Hello, this is not MTV.TV. My name's Lauren. I'm with bassnectar. We love you. We'll see you soon.
Underground communication.
bassnectar's been known for drawing huge crowds with his heavy bass and conscious music. How can you describe your bassnectar movement to the fans out there?
Well, someone asked me what my influences were, and I was doing this other interview, and they were like, "What's your five top influences?" And I was thinking, Metallica or Run DMC or who's it gonna be? And I thought about the Loma Prieta earthquake, which happened when I was in 6th grade, and it was in San Jose, just like shook the place. And I thought, I think that's one of my influences because of, that was like one of the first times I felt absolutely massive, uncontrollable sub bass as a child. And it's only been the last couple decades that humankind has been able to harness in sub bass and play games with it, whereas before it was always, a hurricane, an earthquake, avalanche, or some kind of catastrophe. The inspiration is kind of to create a platform or a springboard for beliefs that I have that I don't feel like the mainstream media gives much attention to. And when I was in college, I was studying this woman named Hannah Arendt, and she talks about expanding one's sphere of influence either through money, fame, politics, terrorism, or various ways. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to be a terrorist, I'm not going to be a politician, but if I create something really magnetic, some kind of music that's just undeniable, it will attract people's interest, and then I can kind of like hit them with the doctrines or the ideas or build a network that way. I'm not like a soundbite person, and that's a problem in this culture. This culture is all about, okay, what's a quick summary, what's a one-sentence thing, and if I had to say a cause, the cause is compassion. I just feel like in terms of the evolution of our species, there's elements of our personalities that are very oriented around self-serving mechanisms, and those are good things. It's like, make sure we have enough food for ourselves and our family or whatnot, but that greed gets out of control. And there's this element called empathy, which is the balance, and that's what separates us from animals and what makes us aware of other people and worry about other people's best interests and stuff. So I'm really into expanding the network of empathy and compassion, and that relates to the politics that are going on that are, we've got a first world that is all about luxuries and indulgences for themselves, and no one really realizes that it's taking away from other people. So, it's long-winded, but I've got a lot of time, so.
What kind of music do you go to turn to that that gets your musical fix going?
Well, when I was a kid, I was really into Metallica, Nirvana. I like metal and hip hop, Public Enemy, Run DMC, that kind of thing. I don't go out a lot dancing. I tour like 4 cities a week usually, so most of the music I hear is what I'm making, and I dance the hardest to my own music. So, there's awesome art all over the place. I have a lot of different artists I'm in love with, but what I listen to the most is my own music.
The Pacific is specifically the place that he from. Water from the border with the West was pumping.
Obviously, people come out here to have a good time. What is your thought on the people and the drug scene that revolves around this, music making and shows?
Well, everyone's had their time experimenting with drugs, and it's in a lot of cases, I think that there's absolutely phenomenal potential with certain kinds of substances or combinations. There's also vast potential for abuse, And I think, it's up to each person and their network of friends to help gauge themselves and their friends on what they're doing. But I do know there's some drugs, white powders, and, back in the day with, LSD and mushrooms and psychedelics and stuff, there's still extreme danger with those kind of drugs. But the events going on surrounding the psychedelic culture seem to yield a lot different than the white powders. And I think it's all kind of a problem when it's not in moderation, and the fact is people don't seem to practice moderation very much. After my first couple parties in '95, I completely stopped, and everything was sober after that. And I'd always be that guy who, like, everyone's like, where do you get all your energy? And it's just like, I love this music and I love the people, so.
You're high on the music, right?
Yeah, I'm just inspired. I did a lot of overseas stuff in like 2002, 2003.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was like, New Zealand, Japan, Europe, the whole bit. And frankly, it's so much work and such much longer flights. And the network within North America is so ridiculous that we can't even keep up with the demand here. I'm more interested in more intimate, closer networking shows and smaller commutes between the two. And, the Grateful Dead is really a cool model for like a sub-society and a network that grew and kind of evolved together, and I'm inspired by that. The Burning Man scene, the jam band scene, a lot of unlikely groups of characters have lent a lot of force and weight to my expansion. And the Burning Man for sure, because it was before I was making music and people were like, what do you call this? What is this? And all of a sudden there was kind of like, oh, it's a Burning Man scene. Oh, it's that. Afterwards, throughout the year, I could go touring, and each city I go to, the people from that city and their friends would come out. And so it built a pretty neat network when there really wasn't a scene going on for that sound and that style to begin with.
Worldwide, metamorphosize. Worldwide, not to be categorized, just when you got me figured out to metamorphosize.
I'm working on a new kind of facet of my website called Bass Network, and it's going to be a information sharing / discussion forum. So check me out, bassnectar.net, myspace.com/bassnectar. Look for the Bass Network, and we'll see you soon.
What are your thoughts about this year's upcoming election?
Well, I was really bummed that John Edwards dropped out because, while I would have loved Dennis Kucinich or someone who's utterly radical and fearless, that's not really likely to get voted in because it doesn't really have to do with politics as much as it has to do with money. And our country is all about making money and keeping money at the expense of other people and other people's quality of life, although they don't really talk about it. So the candidate who's going to win is the candidate who says, I'm going to make as much money as I can for the U.S. corporations who are in control of the media, and then the media and the U.S. corporations rally around them and say, okay, we're going to put you in. And they go in cycles. They've got, two parties. One party's extreme cutthroat, completely shameless, and not worried about what people think about them. That's the Dick Cheneys and the George Bushes, and they're basically like, we're going to rape and pillage and not give a fuck, and then after 8 years of that, we'll put in someone who looks like they give a fuck, and we'll, kind of tone it down and just take half as much from you. So they'll put in a Clinton or a Barack Obama. Everyone's like, okay, we won the election, it all worked out. And then after everyone's kind of like lazy and stuff, they'll throw in, Jeb Bush or someone else, and they'll rape and pillage for another 4 or 8 years. So it's not to say that it's hopeless, it's just to say that don't be fooled by the system. The elections are all controlled by voting machines, which are owned by Republicans and conservatives, and the networks are controlled by conservatives and people with corporate interests. And John Edwards had a chance at getting elected, and he also had a really populist message in terms of the working class and stuff. So I was really into that. I do wonder, is it better to get in a Clinton or an Obama and give ourselves a break for 4 years, given the fact that might kind of like downplay our intensity of resistance, or is it better to maybe have a Republican in there who's just going to keep it going bad so that we all keep staying riled up? Because it's important not to get apathetic and not to lose sight of the fact that the system needs to be destroyed and rebuilt, not just kind of like tampered around with.